These e-bikes are currently all over YouTube. Everyone seems to be testing them. But the key question is, after testing mine, is it actually legal? This is a Cyrusher Kommoda step-through bike. It doesn't have a frame here. Lots of people are testing at the moment. They've been hurled at absolutely everyone. I must admit, I was just like, test an e-bike? Why not? If someone offers you one for free, you're going to take them up on it. But in the comments after my video, there were plenty of people saying it's not Cyrusher, as I was saying. It is Cyrusher. Cycle, when you think about it, it's obvious. So apologies for getting that wrong in the first video. But people are also saying this isn't legal because that motor in the hub at the back has a peak power rating of 1000 watts and can be unlocked through various iffy means. But if you look at the back, it says EPAC, the electric pedal assist cycle legislation is met according to this sticker here. That means a maximum continuous power rating of 0.25 kilowatts, 250 watts. It means a maximum speed of 25 kilometers an hour. I can't test the power output, but I can test the speed rating, and that 100% works. You hit 15.5 miles an hour, 25 kilometers an hour, electric assistance ceases. Depending on what power level you're in, it's a different level that it cuts off at. So the lower the level of assistance, the earlier it will cut off assisting you. But when you're in the highest power mode, as this bike arrives, as it comes, it will kick out at the correct 15, I think it's 15 and a half technically, miles an hour. And that's on this label on the back. So Cyrusher obviously think that makes this bike legal. But there is some question mark about that. And I'm going to try and go into it. It involves getting a bit technical with stuff I don't 100% understand. And that is the power rating of electric motors. The peak power out of this motor is 1000 watts. But it must be said, I think pretty much any e-bike, it's quite difficult to find others quoting a peak if they're ones that, shall I say, are a little more legit and a little less Chinese. There's plenty of them out there. Trek make them, Carrera make them e-bikes that cost an awful lot more money and also meet the EPAC rules. But I don't believe any of them have a motor that is truly going to peak at 250 watts. You wouldn't do that. That 250 watts is continuous use. That motor must be happy to keep providing that power continuously. I haven't been able to find out exactly what duration they actually mean, but I can see why people are getting a bit upset about this one, because when I'm cycling along, the little display here tells me, especially when I'm climbing hills, that the peak power is way more. Now the thing is, I'm doing 33 sort of kilometers an hour at the moment, but that's with no pedal assist. This is just gravity assist. So regardless of the power, it is at the end of the day a push bike. You can go as fast as you dare, really, and I'm going to say 40 kilometers an hour is about enough. The problems stem from the fact that it appears this bike is putting out a lot more than 250 watts. So as we change to going uphill, it's sort of 850 watts according to this display, depending on how reliable this is. But it still cuts out at 25 kilometers an hour, as it should. So you're like, well, is that necessarily a problem? So it's a difficult one. It's the question, is this actually legal? From those findings, possibly not. It seems to be continuously running. When you're in the high power mode, it seems to be continually running at far more than 250 watts. So it depends on what that definition of continuous is. And there's the other point, are you actually going to get into trouble for that? Now, I'm not someone who's 100% au fait on the law. I'm not a lawyer, but from the outside, it's like, are you breaking the rules in the spirit of the law? The spirit of the law is that you cannot go razzing round on an e-bike. You must be pedaling, and in this one you certainly are. As soon as you stop pedaling, the power is cut, and you must obey those speed limits. If you want to go faster than 15.5 miles an hour, you've got to do it with your own legs, and I think that's quite sensible. I'm quite happy doing 15 miles an hour. It's quick enough. I don't want to go racing around at high speed. If I want to go quickly, I'll just use a blooming car. So for just getting around, improving my fitness levels, I think this works. But it is a very key question that I don't think it's ever been tested in law about whether this is 100% legal. I think it sits in a somewhat grey and dubious area. You can uprate this quite easily, and one of the things that annoys me about this Cyrusher Kommoda is that it's very easy to do. You take the controller out. I don't actually know where the controller lives, but it's somewhere in all this, and you unplug one wire and then put the controller back in, and then it's running in de-restricted mode. It's like if you've got a 50cc moped that's limited to 30 and you found a cheat that turned on a supercharger or something. And that is dodgy ground, I must admit. I have no problem with there being a 1000 watt motor on the back of this thing, as long as it stays de-restricted speed-wise. And that's how you do it. You do that, the speed limits no longer apply to this bike, which makes it, let's be very clear about this, that makes it 100% illegal to use on the road. And it gets worse, because this bike was supplied with a hand throttle that you plug in. I can see the plug, it just plugs into that little wire there, attached to the handlebars, and then you don't need to pedal at all, you just use the button. You won't get a very long range, because when it's not pedal assist, the electric motor's having to do everything. It'll be appalling for range, but link that to the fact it's so easy to de-restrict the controller, and you've got something that is potentially very dangerous and very easy to modify. And that I'm not happy with. You can even find the instructions. I know how to do this, how to take the controller out, because I went to Cyrusher's own website, and not their Chinese website, the website that purports to be based in the UK. They do have a showroom here in Gloucestershire. That I am not happy about at all. There have been high profile cases very recently of, it's always young lads it seems, riding these things, I think de-restricted. I am making the assumption there, but having seen some of the footage, they're going way quicker than these things are intended to. And there have been tragic results because of that. And that is a problem. And I think Cyrusher needs to be a bit hotter on this. I think it's ridiculous that they supply something that could then be used very badly. They've got a disclaimer on their website to say, we actually take no responsibility at all for this bike being road legal. That is entirely on the owner and rider. And I think that hints that this might be slightly dubious ground. Will it stop me riding the Cyrusher? I don't think it will. It's here, I might as well use it. I'm actually really enjoying it. I am getting a workout. It's not doing all the work for me. I'm cycling on roads around here, but I would not ride on a normal bike. I could not ride on a normal bike. I just don't have the stamina or the leg power. I've covered about 30 kilometers already on this. That's about 20 miles. And I really enjoyed the fact it's got me out on two wheels again. Maybe I'll just use it for a bit and then I can go back to a normal bike. But really, I haven't got the leg power. There are a lot of people who are unable to ride a normal bike, and this is a bit of a game changer. But yeah, do your homework and be prepared, because ultimately someone could probably take legal action against you if you were riding around on this bike. It is a very difficult one to prove, because after all, the police officer is going to come up to it. It's got the sticker on the back. It looks legit. There is no hand throttle. It looks, to all intents and purposes, like a legit bike. But the fact they're so easy to modify definitely set off alarm bells for me. Anyway, thank you for watching. I thought I'd put this one on the main channel because I think it's so important, because we unveiled the bike on the channel, and I think it's a very important thing to follow up on. And I also want it to prove that despite being provided with this bike, I'm happy to criticize it all I like. I have the bike, the video's gone, they haven't paid me for any of the content, so I feel no obligation to make up the usual influence and nonsense. These are my own experiences, this is my own interpretation of the rules, is that, yeah, it definitely exists in something of a murky grey loophole, I believe. But yeah, like I say, I don't know what the maximum peak power of other legitimate e-bikes is. That would be very interesting to know. I had a quick search before I came here today and I couldn't find very much about it. It's almost like they don't really want you to know what the peak power is. It's all about that 250 watts for the e-pack rules. But anyway, I hope you found that interesting. I'm going to get back on my bike and go for a ride. So thank you, and we'll see you again. I've adjusted the handlebars and pedals a bit now. Do I look slightly less ridiculous? I didn't turn it on. Oh.